Alright, we're doing partial fraction decomposition, so our first step is to factor the denominator. So, this I think is a quadratic in form, isn't it? So you could actually do a u substitution for x, like you could say x squared equals u, so then you'd have u squared minus 2u minus 8, factor it that way. But when it's that type of thing, it's really easy to do without the substitution usually, because just instead of this being an x squared and we would do x times x, this is an x to the fourth, so we do x squared and x squared. And then factors of 8 that add up to negative 2, factors of negative 8 and negative 2. Negative 4 and positive 2, correct? So then negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, and those will be x squareds instead of x's. So do you see how that works out? And then this thing can be factored further because that's a difference of squares, so it's going to be x minus 2x plus 2. So we end up with 3 factors, one of which is quadratic. Okay, when we set this up then, that means we have a over x minus 2 plus b over x plus 2 plus cx plus d over x squared plus 2. Okay. Then we multiply by our least common denominator, which is this thing. So of course that makes this entire denominator cancel. So on this side of our problem we have x squared plus 9. Here just the x minus 2 cancels, so we have a times x plus 2 times x squared plus 2. Then we have b and x plus 2 cancels. So we have x minus 2 and x squared plus 2. And then this particular one, the x squared plus 2 cancels, so we're left with cx plus d, that whole thing, times x minus 2 times x plus 2. So I'm just going to rewrite that as x squared minus 4, like FOIL that back together, because then I can FOIL that part out further. Right? Okay, so then we maybe could plug in a negative 2, and that would help us find b. And then we could plug in a positive 2, and that would help us find a. But then we would have to use something else to find c and d. So I'm going to do like I did in the last problem and just start from the beginning by doing the lining up the different types of terms. So to do that though, everything has to be multiplied out. So we have to FOIL this and distribute the a. So let's go ahead and FOIL it first. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times 2 is 2x. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So we multiply a through that entire thing. Then this one would be x times x squared is x cubed. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. X times 2 is positive 2x, and then negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Okay, now we're going to distribute the a through this. So we'll have x squared plus 9 equals ax cubed plus 2ax squared plus 2ax plus 2 plus 4a. Okay, then we distribute the b through this part. So I'm just going to, I don't have room to write it sideways here anyway, so I'm just going to write it below. So I have bx cubed minus 2bx squared plus 2bx minus 4b. And then I FOIL this part out, so I'll have cx times x squared is cx cubed. If I'm making any mistakes, let me know. D times x squared, so dx squared. Cx times 4, so negative 4cx. And then d times negative 4, so negative 4d. Okay, so that means we have 0 equals a plus b plus c. That means we have 1 equals 2 minus 2. Oh, I need the A's and B's. Oops. 2a minus 2b plus d. Then I have 0x's equals 2a plus 2b minus 4c. And then I would have 9 equals 4a minus 4b minus 4d. I'm thinking this is complicated enough to warrant using a calculator and inverse matrices, maybe. Or like I said earlier, you could plug in a -2 and find b, and plug in a +2 and find a. And then if you know a and b, that will allow you to find c and d pretty easily. Right? Okay, so which way do you want to finish it from here, or can you guys finish it on your own, or is that the hard part that you want help with? Keep going? Which way should we do it? Should we use a matrix? No one's answering. Okay, matrix it is. 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. Here, I'm going to do inverse matrices, so I'm putting that on its own. Okay, so 2, -2, 0, 1, and that's a 1. So then 2, 2, -4, 0, and that's a 0. And then 4, -4, 0, -4, and that's a 9. Okay, so I'm going to call this matrix A and this matrix B, and I'm going to put it in my calculator and do A inverse B and get my answers. Okay, calculator time. So I'm going to go to second matrix. I'm going to go over to edit. I'm going to choose matrix A. I'm changing it to a 4 by 4. I type in my numbers. 1, enter, 1, enter, 1, enter, 0, enter, 2, enter, -2, enter, 0, enter, 1, enter, 2, enter, 2, enter, -4, enter, 0, enter, 4, enter, -4, enter, 0, enter, -4, enter. Okay, then I quit. I go second matrix. I go over to edit. I choose B. I change it to a 4 by 1. Then my 4 by 1 is 0, 1, 0, 9. Okay, then I quit out of there. And I go to my main screen and I just go second matrix, choose matrix A, do the inverse matrix thing, the little -1 power, and then go second matrix, choose matrix B, hit enter. Oh, those are ugly. Okay, so can we convert those back to fractions easily? So 0.5416, -0.5416, 0, and -1.16. Okay, I'm pretty sure that 0.16 is 1/6. So -1.16 would be -7/6, I think. 0 is 0. What about this one, to change that to a fraction? Do you have the fraction button in your calculator you could use? Is this by chance 4/6? No, that would be 2/3. Let's see, 7/13 or 12ths? 7/12? No, that's 0.58. Okay, there's got to be a better way. 0.54166666 repeating. Go to my math button, change it to a fraction. Enter. It didn't change it to a fraction. repeating decimal. There's got to be a way to change it to a fraction. I just don't know what the fraction is. So, no, that's not it. Oh, that's the same one I did before. No. 24ths. How about if we did 13 24ths? I found it! 13 24ths. Well, I knew it was just a little bit over 5, and I knew that it was probably going to have the same, like, be some sort of sixth fraction, right? Related to a sixth. So I tried 12ths, and then I tried 24ths, and I got it. So this was negative 13 24ths. And then you rewrite, you're not done with it until you actually take those numbers and plug them in here and write your answer. So this would be 13 24ths, this would be negative 13 24ths, and C is 0, so this is just negative 7/6 on the top of that one. Okay, so that's one method of you doing this problem, but of course that gave us the trouble of not getting the nice decimal answers. I don't know, I mean the nice fraction answers. So it might have been better had we found A and B using the other method and then plugged them in to find C and D, because then we wouldn't have had the trouble finding our fractions. I don't know. That was fun.